Hello, and welcome to episode 222 of The Joy of Coding. How's it going? My name is Mike Conley. Nice to have you here. So good to see you. There was no stream last week, and I'm back now. And the reason there was no stream was because I was involved in meetings and stuff, but I'm back now. And it's so good to have you here with me. Let's get started. We're going to be hacking on some Firefox stuff today. I'm starting a little bit late. I apologize. There was a little bit of how do I want to phrase this? Our basement is a huge mess. For a variety of reasons, our basement's become a huge mess, and so I had to that's where I am right now, and I've had to rearrange it in order to get the green screen up, and that's why I was late. So there you go. Now you've peeked behind the curtain and seen there's a mess behind me. But enough about my problems. Let's hack on Firefox. Let me just share my screen for a sec, and let's pull up the agenda. Yeah, today is episode 222. Auspicious, is that the right word? An auspicious episode. 3 2s. We're not gonna have 3 single digits again like that for another 111 episodes. So, this is a milestone, I guess. Yay! Episode 222. It's a fun number. A reminder, if this is the first time watching the stream, I just want you to know, no plan survives breakfast. There's, not a whole lot planned. You can tell, look at the agenda. There's, not a whole lot planned. I'm just going to be making up stuff as I go. There is stuff that I want to do, but I haven't, pre-written any of the things I'm going to be writing. I mean, certainly I've been doing work this morning, and so I might show off some of the work that I've done and that I'm about to push up for review, that sort of thing. But if you see me writing stuff, if you see me hacking on stuff, I'm coming up with it on the fly. I haven't done any pre-homework really on what exactly to write. I don't have a paper beside me going okay, now open brace and now this. So things can go wrong. I might get stuck. That's okay. That's the preamble. The second thing is that the agenda that we're looking at is something that you have access to. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, check out the handout section for a link to the agenda. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's in the video description. Thank you, Okris, for chiming in that the YouTube stream apparently is working, so thank you for that. And for the folks on Twitch, I'm going to drop the agenda into the Twitch chat right now. There it is. The last thing I want to point out is that there is an episode guide. If you are watching this in the future and you want a sort of a brief summary of what happened during episode 222, without watching the rest of this video, you can go to the episode guide and probably find an episode guide for 222 and find out what happened. A breakdown, a summary, maybe some of the stuff I worked on, or some of the... Oh, Twitch is not working? Twitch stream is offline. What? That is unfortunate. I apologize. I'm going to pause for a sec. I'm just going to check. Twitch said I was offline. That's not right. Come on now. All right, well, let me try a thing real quick. I'm going to try something. I'm going to try fixing this problem, and if it doesn't work and I horribly break things, well, that's par for the course. I'm going to try a thing. Okris, I don't know how many people are watching this, but I'm going to try a thing. Hold on. One moment. Let me, I'm actually going to do this in a different window because this happens periodically where the repeater doesn't work. That's not, I don't run the repeater anymore. The repeater is the thing that allows me to stream not only to YouTube, but to Twitch. And it's not something I control. I used to control it. It used to be a modified Nginx server that I ran on a machine that I use. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna try it. This is going to stop the YouTube stream. So if you're watching the YouTube stream, just hold on. It's gonna stop for a sec, and then I will be back, and hopefully I'll be streaming to Twitch as well. And then we can sort of catch the people up on Twitch with what's going on. So just 1 second. I'll be right back. And maybe we're back. Now let me just check to see if Twitch has it.
And maybe we're back.
Whoops.
Now let me just
Turn that off, and we'll see if Twitch has it. Come on. Yeah, I appear to be live on Twitch. Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. If you're watching this on Twitch, whoops, you weren't getting the stream. That's I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. The stream wasn't showing up. The repeater didn't work. I fixed it. Here we are. Basically, I turned it off and turned it back on again. So hopefully it's working. Smurf D says it's working on YouTube and Twitch. I have no idea how the recording's going to work on Air Mozilla here. I might have to. Well, long story short, it's working. Yay! Let's move on. I think I just talked about the episode guide. I just talked about No Plan Survives Breakfast. Let's just go right into it. Now that we're back on Twitch, I can go right into what's going on with things. As has been the case for a number of months now, by the way, I'm in my basement, so I'm using my home Wi-Fi. I'm using a somewhat battle-tested rig now. I've been using this for a while, and it's worked, but things might go wrong as per the No Plan Survives Breakfast. If my Wi-Fi cuts out or starts to get slow, I apologize. Just let's hope my home Wi-Fi holds out. The second thing I want to point out is that this stream, it's not actually sponsored by, but I'm going to pretend like it is. This stream is brought to you by Mozilla VPN. Mozilla VPN is a brand new VPN service from Mozilla. Are you interested in supporting Mozilla's mission? Mozilla is run by a not-for-profit Mozilla Foundation, and you can help by donating to the foundation, or if you want a product, you can use the Mozilla Corporation's Mozilla VPN. VPN. Check it out. Now, if you're not sure what a VPN is, you can go to vpn.mozilla.org to learn a little bit more. But let me break it down for you, for the folks who might not know what a VPN is. You can think of a VPN as, this is the way I explained it to my parents anyways. Imagine you want to make a phone call to someone in, let's say, some part of Europe. I don't know how phones work in Europe, but let's say that there's a really excellent phone plan where if you are in France, you can call someone in Germany and it's free because you're both in Europe. Let's pretend that that exists. Now, let's say that you actually live in the United States, but you have a friend in France, and you have an easy way of talking to them, an easy and cheap way of talking to them, but you really want to talk to someone in Germany and take advantage of that sort of like connection from France to Germany that's free. You can call your friend in France, and then they can call your friend in Germany, and then just put their phones together so that you're talking to the person in Germany through their line. That's kind of what a VPN is. Now, I'm glossing over a lot of detail. There's a lot of like security and encryption going on, but basically what you do is you connect to another computer somewhere else, and then that computer acts as your entry point, like your access point to the internet. So all of your connection comes through that other remote computer. And there is a very heavily encrypted tunnel between you and that computer. Now, why would you want this? Why would you want a VPN? There are a couple of great reasons for a VPN I can think of off the top of my head. The first one is if you are on a hostile or unknown network. So, for example, maybe you're sitting inside of a restaurant, or you're sitting... I mean, who's sitting inside of a restaurant these days, am I right? Let's say you're at the train station and there's Wi-Fi. There's just free Wi-Fi around. You don't know who set up that Wi-Fi. You don't know who else is connected to that Wi-Fi. And you might be connecting to services that aren't going over SSL, or maybe, there's someone on the network has installed some kind of like certificate system where they're trying to bypass SSL, or like man in the middle you or something. It's trickier to do that with SSL, but maybe possible. You don't know what's going on that hostile network that you yourself didn't set up. There could be nefarious eavesdroppers. And at the very least, if you're using not DNS over HTTPS, you are making DNS requests over, out in the clear. And so at least people can see what sites you're connecting to. Just the domain names. They can your internet service provider can also see what IP address you're talking to, so they can do like reverse lookups and say like, oh, you're talking to Facebook, you're talking to Amazon, etc. If they just do a reverse lookup from IP. So X sorry, Danny Colon says a what? I'm not sure what you mean by a what. But I'll try and clear it up. Anyways, a VPN allows you to have an encrypted tunnel to a trusted machine that's running in a network somewhere else in the world. And that means that anyone who's eavesdropping on this potentially hostile network only just, they see noise and they see that you're communicating to that one machine somewhere else in the world. That's all they see. And it's far more difficult for an attacker to know what you're doing, who you're talking to, doing like packet analysis, like that sort of thing. It's much, much more difficult. So that's one way a VPN protects you. Another thing that the VPN is good for is by making it seem like you're somewhere else. So for example, in Canada, we have a news site called the CBC, which is, if you're in the UK, it's similar to like the BBC, and that's our national news broadcaster. And we have other news broadcasters, but the CBC is the one I'm going to use for my example. If you're in Canada, I'm pretty sure that you get all of the like video coverage for free. You can like listen to, you can watch the news. You can like get a stream of news reports and stuff. I'm reasonably certain, I haven't checked this in a while, I'm reasonably certain that if you are outside of Canada, or if you seem to be outside of Canada, you can't see those streams anymore. The CBC is doing what's called geofencing. They go, if you're in Canada, you can watch the streams. If you're outside of Canada, you can't. Well, with a VPN, you can seem to be in Canada, and then you can watch those streams again, which is useful in the event that I ever travel again, that if I'm, say, in the UK, where I can watch the BBC for free, but I really want to, like, watch CBC. I want my Canadian, my chef's kiss Canadian news. Then I can connect to my VPN endpoint in Canada and have it be the thing that actually goes and gets the streams. And that works nicely. And the Mozilla VPN can do that. So basically, a VPN is something that is really useful to have to mask your traffic, to make it seem like you're somewhere else. If you happen to use like BitTorrent for whatever reason, it's always a good idea to use a VPN, regardless of what you're downloading. I have observed, for example, that some ISPs doing deep packet analysis will throttle BitTorrent traffic to try and reduce how much bandwidth is allocated on their networks for BitTorrent. If you are connected to a VPN, they cannot do that because they can't see what you're doing. It's just an encrypted pipe. I'm in no way advocating piracy over BitTorrent, copyright infringement, or anything like that. BitTorrent is a valid protocol to download large files and distribute the downloading of chunks to other people. Whatever you use it for, try using it with a VPN. And last thing I'm going to say, Linux distros, like large downloads, like if you're downloading like the latest version of Ubuntu disk image, or I think actually Steam under the hood, I could be wrong about this, but when you download updates to your games on Steam, I'm pretty sure they use the BitTorrent protocol because they hired the BitTorrent. The guy who invented BitTorrent, I think worked at Valve for a while on the Steam client, and I think that's what they were working on to try and like distribute updates, I think. Okay, the last thing I want to say about VPN, and then the commercial ends, is that there have been a number of scandals where like a VPN provider is like, oh, I'm a free VPN, or I'm a really cheap VPN, and come connect with us and you get all these protections. But what you didn't realize, what their customers or their users didn't realize, is that VPN is monetizing or logging the traffic internally. So you've moved the problem. What before was a hostile network maybe monitoring your traffic, now it's your VPN provider that's monitoring your traffic, or maybe like injecting stuff into your traffic, or monetizing it in some way, or logging it at the very least. And that is no bueno. We don't like that. And that's something that we do not do. In fact, Mozilla does not operate the VPN network. We partner with a Swedish company called Mullvad. If you're not familiar with them, Mullvad is, I think I spelled that right. Mullvad is a Swedish-based VPN company, which we have audited. So Mozilla went in and we evaluated a whole bunch of different VPN providers, and we saw the pluses and minuses for each of them. We wanted like speed, ease of use, and privacy and security characteristics that align with our mission. And Mullavad won out, and we chose them. And we audited the network, and basically what you're paying for when you pay Mozilla for the VPN service, you are paying for our stamp of approval to say, like, yes, we've checked out this VPN and you can trust it. They're not going to monetize your data and use you. You're paying for their service, and they're going to treat you with respect. That's what you're paying for. And you also help Mozilla diversify our revenue, because right now, we are basically the vast majority. If you look at like how Mozilla Corporation works, the vast majority of our revenue actually comes from a single source, and that's not healthy. That's not good for a company. You want to have multiple sources of revenue because we need to keep the lights on. That's important for us to survive. Anyways, that is my VPN pitch. I hope I didn't spend too long on that. And it's like $5 USD a month. I'm paying for it in Canada. I'm using it on my Android device right now. There's an Android client. You can also use it on Windows, and I believe it also works on iOS. So yeah, iPhone and iPad devices. Mac and Linux is coming soon, and then I will switch over all my other devices to using it. And I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. In my experience, it's been really, really slick and very quick. So give it a shot. Mozilla VPN. Check it out. All right, commercial over. What are we working on today? I want to show you something I've been doing. Oh, hey, Yuri. Yuri is in the chat, everybody. Yuri Wims. If you don't remember, Yuri was hacking with me a couple of weeks ago. I think it was almost like 3 weeks ago now, almost a month ago, where Yuri and I were hacking on some WebRTC stuff. We might actually work on some of that stuff today. And let's see. Yuri is going to be joining me in a couple of weeks, I think, again, for another duo session. I think it's at the beginning of August, if I remember correctly. Let me just check my calendar. Then we can put that in the agenda. It's on, let's see here. Oh, it's going to be a Wednesday. M. Conley and Yuri hack on August 12th. So let me put that in the agenda. On August 12th, 2020, Yuri Wims returns to hack with Mike on something. I don't know what yet. We're going to figure it out, but we're going to hack on something. So come check that episode out. I don't know what number that's going to be because I haven't done the math in my head, but it'll be some number greater than 222. Okay, what are we working on today? I want to show you something I've been working on because I'm about to push up a change for review, and I want to show you what it is before I push it. Smurfd says there's a new contributor to the episode guide. Amazing. I don't know who that would be, but whoever it is, thank you. So you might be familiar with something we were working on for a long time called Picture-in-Picture. Picture-in-Picture is a relatively popular feature, a surprisingly popular feature in Firefox that we worked on. It allows, whoopsie daisy, I didn't mean to drag that. It allows users to, well, let me just quickly demonstrate. Make sure it's enabled. Number. Okay, so if you go to a video, let's see, Mozilla Firefox. Let me just pull up a video. Something from Mozilla. I don't know. Sure. So we're playing this video. We'll mute it. Have I accidentally disabled Picture-in-Picture? Where's the toggle? Whoops, I think I broke everything. Hold on, hold the phone, everybody. I gotta rebuild. Hold up, hold up. Gotta rebuild. Let me describe what we're doing, though. So we've had this Picture-in-Picture toggle in the code for a while. And the Picture-in-Picture toggle is this little blue notch that you'll see on the right side of a video element. And I'll show it to you right now. Hold on. YouTube. Oh, that's not helpful. Yeah, browse privately. Here, I just want a test video. Oh, this video is too short. That's why we're not seeing it. This video is too short. I need like a test video. So sure, let's look at this I like this band. I'm Mother Earth. They're Canadian. I like this band a lot. Okay, so we have this little notch. That's all I want to show is this little notch, and you click on that, and the video slurps out into this always on top window. And that has worked for us for a while, but what we've realized by like doing some user research is that there are a lot of people who still don't know this thing exists. It's a little bit subtle. You know, if you're not paying attention, you might not realize that this little feature exists. And so we're trying some variations on the toggle, and I want to show you those variations. And we're experimenting with them. We're going to launch an experiment in, I think, 80. So that's on Nightly right now. The patch for the experiments just landed today. It should be in Nightly tomorrow. And what it will do is it's going to try 2 different variations on the toggle. Here's the first variation. So instead of the little blue notch, we have this sort of darker but larger icon. We're trying a larger icon. And then when you mouse over it, you get sort of like a slicker, faster, larger prompt on what's happening. And we're also going to play with the position. So we're going to do an experiment where we try both the left and the right side. That's the first one. Then the second variation has the toggle be a little more, you know, it glows a bit more, and there's more of an explanation of what you're signing up for when you click on it. And we have that variation on the left and the right as well. And so we'll be doing that experiment, I think, on the beta or the release channels. And there are a couple of other things to note. Like when the video is small enough, we change the font size. And if the video is too small, I don't think we show the toggle at all. Oh yeah, we show this like smaller version of the toggle. So that's like an interesting characteristic of it when the video gets too small. What else is there to know? And if you've ever clicked on it before, so we bring that out, for example, so the user has used it, then we revert back to a much simpler toggle. So we've gotten out of the user's way. After they've acknowledged that they've seen this and they've tried it, then we get out of their way. This is something we're experimenting with. We're going to try all these different variations, and we're going to see which one's best. And then we're going to tweak it a little bit, and then either we'll ship the new version of the toggle or we won't. But that's what I've been working on over the past couple of days. Yeah, the first one is a bit too dark on the dark background, says SmurfD. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible that the glowing border is more important, and we're going to find that out, doing the user research and experimentation. So you can play with this whenever in tomorrow's Nightly. The prefs you want to play with are under Media, Video Controls, Picture-in-Picture, Video-Toggle. And the ones in particular that you want to use are Mode. So if you set this to -1, it's the default sort of blue toggle. That's the default value. Mode 1 is this variant. And mode 2 is this variant. This variant. And then the second variant will change its behavior whether or not the has used pref has been set to true. So if it's set to true, then it only is this dark icon. And if it's set, has used is set to false, then it glows like that. So it's this tricky balance because on Linux it's white on a blue background. I think on Linux you're referring to your Ocris. You might be referring to this thing, right? Like this is the default toggle, and it's white on blue background. This is what we're trying to see whether or not we can improve upon. And we're going to learn a lot more. Like as we experiment with this thing, we're going to tune it and try and figure out if we can find the balance between being, obvious enough. Because that's the sort of thing here is we want to be obvious, but we want to stay out of the user's way. We don't want to like be yet another pop-up that's like, hey, do this thing. We want to get out of the user's way, but also we want to be obvious. And that's a tricky balance sometimes to make, but we're going to experiment with it. For now, we're very unobtrusive, but maybe too unobtrusive. That's our hypothesis. So in the next couple of weeks, we're hopefully going to be able to get some data on which toggle we want to go with. Maybe we stick with the current one, or we try some variant on the left or the right side, or maybe some mixture of all of the variants. Who knows? And then that's what we'll ship. And anyways, the reason I bring that up is because I recently patched it. So I wrote a patch that makes it so that the highlight exists always around the toggle. Before the hang on, let me amend the patch and I'll show you what the full patch is. Scoop doop dooby doo Mercurial. All right, here's the patch in total. One thing I'm doing here is I'm using CSS variables, and this patch changed the behavior because the current landed behavior, the behavior that we landed earlier today, doesn't have the border around the highlight unless you're hovering the toggle. Then we highlight it. And UX requested that we change that slightly so that we always have that highlighted border if the user has never used the toggle before. And that's what this patch does. And so you can see I'm using a number of interesting things here. I've got like I've got a has used attribute to determine whether or not the toggle has been used. That's an attribute that is set via JavaScript. We have some JavaScript that reads the preference and sets that attribute, and then we use like the not has used attribute selector to set the border. What else is interesting in here? Lots of CSS variables. Using some calculations, trying to reduce all the hard-coded numbers and values where possible. This is something that is particularly useful, and I highly recommend doing is with colors. If you're ever and this is related very much so to what Yuri and I were working on a few weeks ago, which is if you have colors in your style sheet that you might need to change over time, it's nice to slurp those out into CSS variables so that you have just sort of like a single set of variables to mess around with, and a single set of variables that you can override if you need to do like custom theming. Like, so for example, maybe you're going to have a media selector for whether or not the user prefers dark mode. That's a thing that exists. There's a prefers dark mode, prefers color scheme dark. This is a media selector that exists, and so in here you can override your CSS variables to have like dark colors for a dark mode. So I highly recommend, if you're a web developer out there or you're hacking on like browser code or something, and you're using colors, is to put those colors in CSS variables. That will really help you out. And it also just like deduplicates. If you're using this color all over the place, it deduplicates it. Another pro tip, this is something that I realized that we did that I think is pretty handy, is that a lot of our CSS variables are in this single like common file, and we have CSS variables for various colors that we want to use around the product. So we'll have like the notion of gray 60. Gray 60 is 4A, 4A, 4F in hex. And so the UX team might produce a spec and say like the border needs to be gray 60. And then we can just use that. Instead of them having to like pull out this hex value, they say gray 60. And then that means we have this level of abstraction. If we determine that gray 60 is too bright or too dark, we can adjust it. We can change the color of gray 60 without changing like all of our specs or something. That's been somewhat useful. But certainly CSS variables are very useful for things like dark mode. Anyways, so I have this patch here. It adds that highlight. I want to post it up for review. So I think I've got everything I need in the commit message format, bug, number, make mode 2 variant of picture-in-picture toggle always have the highlight border. And I'm asking Mark Streamer for a review. The only case where we don't show the highlight is if the user has used the picture-in-picture highlight. Highlight is not the right word. I'm going to reword that commit message. Highlight is the wrong word there. If the user has used the picture-in-picture toggle before, that's the right word. And then we're going to push this up for review, and then we'll move on to something else. We're going to go back to WebRTC stuff because I have a bug to fix with it. A regression. So this is how we submit a patch. I say mozfab submit tip, and I press enter. Let's see what happens. I'm going to let you in on like some personal information. I mentioned before I fixed the problem with Twitch that our basement is a mess, and that's why it took me a little bit longer to get the stream set up. Our basement is a mess because our air conditioning is broken, and it's been broken for a couple of weeks now because we're waiting on a part to arrive to fix it, and shipping is really difficult right now with the virus. So we've been without air conditioning during a couple of heat waves in Toronto, at least. It's been really hot, so we've been like living in our basement. So that's why it's a mess down here. It's basically become a small apartment for us. Smurf D says, "Thank God it's not midsummer." You're right, because like that would be torture. I mean, I'll be completely honest. It could be a lot worse. I could be in the deep south without air conditioning, and then we would be in like serious trouble. Or we could both be like, we could have no basement. Maybe we'd be like the 20th floor of an apartment complex with no air conditioning, and then all because heat rises, it gets really really hot. Long story short, it could be a lot worse. But it's been a number of weeks now. Our air conditioner is supposed to be repaired today. The part is arriving today. So if all of a sudden I have to stop the stream, or if my phone rings because the technician is here, or I have to run out for a second, I apologize. That might occur. Okay, so we've put up the patch for review. Let's take a look. So yeah, I extracted the style of the highlight because I was using it in a couple of different places. That's usually a good example or a good signal that you want to extract something out, is if you use it in more than 2 places. And in this case, I actually was using it in how many places? 3 places. Yeah, once my sort of internal rule of thumb is once I've used it more than twice, it's probably time to find a way of not repeating myself. Because repeating yourself, it's like the classic DRY principle. You don't want to repeat yourself, because if you decide that you need to change the color of the highlight, for example, then you have to remember to change it in all of the places where it exists in the code. And now I just have this one place. So we add a layer of indirection, and it makes it easier to read and more consistent. So my threshold is like, if you've used it twice and you're adding a third time, you probably want to add some indirection. But use that advice with a grain of salt. So this patch looks right. It's up for review. We're going to move on. So let's see here. I want to work on this WebRTC bug that it's a regression that I introduced. Let me pull it up. It's a defect. Okay, so in bug 1649032, I changed things so that if the user closes the sharing indicator, if they find a way of closing it, which you're not supposed to be able to do. I mean, like, we don't have a close button on it, but the user should, like, it is possible via on Windows, for example, the task manager, or like if you use the browser dev tools or something, it is theoretically possible to close that indicator, and we need to be able to handle that. And because we want to enforce a relationship between streams being shared and that indicator existing somewhere in the UI, we want to shut down all of the streams if the indicator gets closed. And I found a way of doing that, but I introduced this regression where if the user hits stop all streams, so there's this like stop sharing button, sorry, not stop all streams. If they hit the stop sharing button to shut down the sharing of just their screen, it shuts down all of the streams. And we don't want that. And let me give you an example, because the regression is in Nightly right now, so I can show you. So I'm going to go to this website called talkie.io. This is a WebRTC chatting app. I'm going to hopefully this doesn't break things. Did that break things? Oh, it broke things. It broke things. Sorry about that. Let me change cameras. I apologize, because now there's like this big black rectangle around me. Hold on a second. Let me fix that. I apologize. Hold on just a sec. Bear with me. Better. All right, fixed. Sometimes you gotta turn stuff off and turn it back on. Okay, so I'm gonna share this, and then I share, like, let's share my built-in microphone. So this is what it looks like in my basement right now. That's another angle on me. And now I join this call. So we've got the little indicator doing its thing down here. I'm going to share my screen. Let's say I share, let's see, let's share actually the browser I'm on. So I'm sharing my screen, and now I hit the stop sharing button right here. Now pay close attention to what happens, because I've got a sort of like a preview of myself up here in the corner, and then this is my screen being shared in the corner as well. I'm going to say stop sharing, and this is supposed to stop sharing my screen. I click it. Oh. What in Sam Hill? What in tarnation? We should only stop the most recent. Stops all streams. What in tarnation? Wait a second. Let's do that again. Camera access. Microphone access. Done. Join call. Share screen. Let's share my whole screen. Now I stop sharing. See, now it's shut down. Interesting. Interesting. We have like some kind of I wouldn't call it non-determinism, but there's like a subtlety to the steps to reproduce. Let's see if we can like come up with a really clear set of steps to reproduce. So let's write them down. str. Visit talkie 2. So this is how you write steps to reproduce. Very useful. Don't want that. Click on start chat to so start a chat rather. Start a chat. Grant access to the camera and microphone. In the talkie chat room, click. So we allow camera access. We're going to do the FaceTime and the microphone, built-in microphone. We're going to join the call. Click join call, which call is capitalized. In the talkie chat room, click share screen. Share a screen or window. Click stop sharing in the WebRTC global sharing indicator. Expected results. Sharing of the screen / window should stop. Actual results, all streams including the microphone and camera stop being shared. Very inconvenient. Very inconvenient. So share, let's share the Twitch chat. And I say stop sharing. Now, so interesting. This doesn't always reproduce reliably, which is frustrating. We should figure out why. Let me try sharing the screen again. Share the whole screen. Interesting. I wonder if it's because I have to share the whole screen and not a window. If I share the whole screen, that might be the variation. Sharing of the screen. So I'm going to just share a window this time. And my hypothesis is sharing a window does not cause this to break. Sharing a window, stop sharing. Oh, sharing a window did cause it to break. Hypothesis was wrong. Very frustrating. Okay. Camera, microphone, join call, share screen. Let's share the Twitch chat again. Stop sharing. Share screen, Twitch chat. Stop sharing. Share screen. Share my current screen. Stop sharing. Share screen. Share screen. Full screen. Stop sharing. Very interesting. We should try to figure out why. Share. This seems to reproduce reliably if you share a screen. If you only share a window. Okay, so getting some steps to reproduce in a bug really helps. Danny Colin says, maybe it breaks if the current tab is shared. That would include sharing the full screen. Maybe. Let's try that variation. So I've got, let's open up another separate window here, and we're going to send this to like this pocket story. And let's try that hypothesis. Pocket story. All right, stop sharing. Interesting. Now if I share this tab, stop sharing. Okay, so sharing the tab that I'm on does not actually, like I shared this talkie tab, it did not go away. How about the other screen? So this is my monitor screen where I'm watching myself. So sharing the screens really just doesn't take everything out. It takes everything out. Okay, we can at least start there. And maybe by figuring out why, if you're sharing the screen, it takes everything out, it will make it clearer why sometimes in other cases stop sharing everything. So let's start there. The first thing I want to do is check out Central. So get my picture-in-picture patches off the stack. And I'm going to build with default. I've been using an artifact build up to now, but I want to build with default. And we're going to look at the code that runs whenever you hit stop sharing. And that's in the WebRTC indicator script. There's a stop sharing screen, stop sharing window, stop sharing browser window, we filter the streams by whether or not they're scary. And then we say stop sharing streams. So this is what I want to look at. I want to look at this function stop sharing streams inside WebRTC UI, because maybe I'm being too aggressive in here, because this is what I landed recently, which is probably where the regression is. Hold on a second. WebRTC indicator. Whoa, okay, I think I see the problem. All of these default, so I think I was too sloppy. I have a bug here, and I think I'm starting to see it. Stop sharing streams takes these optional arguments, and the default is for them to be true. And when you say stop sharing streams here, what we really want to be doing, I think, is not getting the active streams necessarily, because we're not filtering them. We want to pass in the same, like the booleans here. I think that's what we want to do. Let me look at the bug where I reintroduced this, because I remember that was some piece of review feedback. So in this file, in this line, he says, it feels a bit weird to me that we filter twice. Get active streams should only give us screen streams. Can we just omit the filter params for the stop sharing streams call? Oh, that's the point. So the active streams, we should only have streams that have screen on them. So what I thought was a bug might not be a bug. Unless the stream, it's possible for a stream to have multiple devices on it. in which case the assumption in this comment is not true. We're gonna verify this. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's go back to our terminal here. Our build has completed. Let's run. We're gonna figure this out. I feel quite confident. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the browser toolbox so we can debug. We'll have this to the side. We're going to go through the sharing of the screen steps in order to have a reliable reproduction. And I realize now my head's kind of in the way of the terminal at the bottom, but you know, we'll actually, so maybe it makes more sense to do this so you can see better what I'm doing. See what I'm doing more better. Let me pump up the font a little. We'll get rid of the terminal for now. So we're going to start. I'm going to share the camera. We're going to say, yeah, FaceTime and this microphone. Yep, do it. Join the call, share the screen. We're going to share screen 1. Nope, not screen 1. Let's share screen 2. And now I want to add a breakpoint, not inside picture-in-picture child, but inside webrtcui.jsm. Stop all streams. Is that what it was called? Stop. What was this function called? Stop sharing streams. Here. And we're going to step through. I'm going to hit stop sharing. And we hit our breakpoint here. And now I'm going to expand this. We're going to start stepping through. So what do we have for active streams? That's the first thing I want to know. We can examine that. I like to do it in the terminal at the console at the bottom. So active streams, what's in here? We have an array with one stream, and this object has a list of devices. There's an audio input device and a video input device, one of which is a screen. So that's interesting. One of the streams has, so we can have multiple devices, despite the fact that we filtered out, whenever I said stop sharing screen, we filter out everything except screen, but the problem is that the way the filter works, it doesn't exclude microphone, it just checks that screen is one of the devices. So we have the microphone device as part of this stream, and by default, we say, hey, disable that. I think that's the problem. I think that is the problem. Let's step through. So we go through each of the active streams. We get the permissions and whether or not we've requested. So like stop microphone is, stop mics is true. We've asked to stop the microphones. And then we remove those permissions. That's what's happening. I feel quite confident. Okay, I feel quite confident that I think we can fix this. We're going to put these back. I'm going to say stop sharing streams, false, false, true, false. So it's the same order. Stop sharing window would be false, 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 true. Okay. Let's see if we can reproduce now. And then I think that if this fixes it, we need to write a test, and we also need to have a deeper explanation of for our reviewer of why we need to make this change. All right, here we go. Start a chat. Allow camera. No, no, not that one. Yeah. And then microphone. Join the call. Share the screen. Stop sharing the screen. Yay! That's exactly right. Okay. Okay. So let's try this again. We're going to share something else. We're going to share Talkie. Stop sharing the window. We're going to share a different application now. Let's stop sharing. I've got, what do I have here? My Evernote notes folder. Stop sharing that. Cool. And now let's try closing the window, the indicator. And the way we do that is by choosing the indicator and saying window.close. And this should kill all the streams. Hooray! Hey, I think we're in good shape. So let's take a quick look at the changes we just made. Oh, my nose is so itchy. I think it's because of all the... Well, it's not dry in here because there's no air conditioning. But nose is itchy. It's probably seasonal allergies that I'm struggling with. So what I'm going to do is put the same sort of commentary. This is why I like to do for like Boolean values that aren't descriptive out of the box on what you're fiddling with. It really helps so that, you know, you can say like, oh, that's what these values mean. Oh, I just dropped my phone. It's fine. And I do want to do the same thing down here. Oops. Okay. Get active streams. So I'm going to put some documentation in here. Get active streams is filtering only for is filtering for streams that have screen sharing, but those streams might also be sharing other devices like camera or microphone. This is why we need to tell stop sharing streams explicitly which device type we want to stop. And I'm going to do something similar down here. I'm basically going to repeat myself. See below comment on why we need to pass the list, the Boolean values for which device types we want to stop via stop sharing streams. And up here, it's just like remove them all. This is the remove them all. Okay. I think that'll help. Now let's run our test, because there was a test that was added whenever I added this behavior. Let's make sure that that test still runs. And then maybe we can reuse that test to test this case where we're sharing multiple streams. Mock, Moki test. Stop streams on indicator close. Now that's not exactly right. We want to add a new test that actually hits the stop sharing button. Pardon me. My allergies. Mine allergies. Nallergies with an N. Life update. No word from the air conditioner repair technician. Okay. So that test still passes. That's good. We need to add a new test, basically. A test, let's basically try and recreate the scenario from these steps to reproduce. Now we can't have the test actually go to talkie.io. We don't want it to actually touch the network. But here's what we can do. We're going to say mock add test. Where was this other test put? Browser test WebRTC. I'm going to say browser content test WebRTC. Instead of stop streams, we're going to say stop sharing screen. Stop sharing button. And then we add that new test to Mercurial tracking. And let's open her up. So we've got some boilerplate in there. I'm actually going to reuse some of what we've already written for the close window stuff. I'm actually going to start with this exact code, and we're going to tear it down. Given a browser chooses to share some combination of camera, mic, or screen. So thankfully, I don't think we need to reuse this. I'm not opening a whole bunch of tabs. It's really only one tab that we want to open. We open a test page, and we're going to choose to share multiple devices. Okay. Don't need to open the second tab or fourth tab. We can do this with a browser test utils. So we're going to open up a new tab at test page. I think I can do that if I just pass in the URL. I don't think I have to actually pass it gbrowser, do I? Gbrowser with new tab. Yeah, I can just pass it. That, and I'm going to say this is an async function, and we're going to wait for an indicator to open, and then don't need to do that. And then I want to take all of this share device logic and put it inside here, but I'm going to simplify it because we're going to share all three. True, true, check device selectors, true, true, microphone. I actually think it prefers it after the commas. We're going to allow those things, and then we're going to share the screen. Wait, promise request device, video. It's not microphone, it's audio, video, audio, video, audio, promise request device, audio, video, type is screen. So we get ourselves our screen, and then check device selectors. We can just copy that. Check device selectors. So it isn't audio and video, it's microphone, camera. Microphone, camera. Microphone, camera. It should be false, false. And then true. Screen. Window. Wants to pass window as well. All right. I don't know why, but okay. Okay, so we've done that. And then we await the indicator. Now what I'm going to do is I want to test all this stuff. So I'm going to say await, new promise, resolve, set timeout, resolve in 5 seconds. So we're just going to wait for 5 seconds. Let's see what this does when I run this. We can get rid of that. We need to replace this comment to do. But let's run browser stop sharing button. I have to do mock build faster. Pardon me, my nose. I hate rubbing my nose in front of the world, but my allergies. Allergies, man. My allergies. Okay, let's run it. Stop sharing button. Wait, oh, it already that was add test. I meant Moki test. Moki test, which is like run the test. Scoo-boop boop ba-doo. Oh man, check out that bald spot that's developing, eh? Can you see this? It's called male pattern baldness. Oh, redeclaration of a promise. 88. Go bald or go home. That's my motto. It's time of my life to go bald. Let's do it. Let's completely do it. I'm all in. I just need to get some clippers. Also hates it because syntax error, line 106. Oh, because of course this is a inside with new tab, so I gotta close the function. Close the function call. Go, 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 go. Shares all that stuff. Good. So we've got we got ourselves set up here. Whoopsie daisy. Didn't mean to do that. And then what we're going to do is we are going to we're going to stop sharing. So let indicator doc, or let stop sharing button equals indicator dot document. Is that how I can access it? WebRTC head. Indicator document. Indicator document. Yeah. That's what I'm going to use. Indicator document dot get element by ID. In this case, because we're sharing the screen, we want WebRTC indicator.xhtml. We want whichever stop button is visible. Which might actually depend on which device we end up selecting from the list. How does that work? There's some determination here on whether or not we're sharing a browser window or sharing a window or sharing a screen. And depending on that, we're going to expose a different button. There are two buttons. Stop sharing screen, stop sharing window. And so if there's a sharing screen attribute, that's what we'll use. Let stop sharing ID equals, let's say like indicator doc equals indicator dot document indicator doc dot document element dot get attribute. What was it? Or has attribute. If we have attribute sharing screen, has attribute, we're going to say is sharing screen. And then we'll say is sharing screen. Then the ID is stop sharing screen, otherwise it's stop sharing window. So we'll have to test that a little bit, but stop sharing button is this. Whoopsie daisy, I can't keyboard. Let's JS prettyify this stuff. And now we're going to click the button, stop sharing button dot click. Now, how do we say check not sharing? Is there a way I can be more precise about what we're not sharing? No. So what I need to make sure is that we're still sharing. What does this do? No, that's not right. Tab. Check sharing. Assert WebRTC indicator status. Expected. Excuse me, it's those allergies again. Expected.video. True. Audio and video are expected, and screen should be false. Right? Excuse me. Expected.screen. Excuse me again. I apologize. These are like high definition sneezes. Expected and who calls, check sharing UI. So I say video true and audio true. That's what I want. And screen should be false. But it defaults to false. Okay, so I think all I need to do is say audio true, video true. Let's see what happens. Yeah, SmurfD wonders if like the growing bald pattern is happening because I'm tearing out my hair. Yeah, it could be. Could be related. Showing camera icon in the identity block. Got screen expected camera. All right, let me just blow my nose real quick. I'm going to do this off camera because this is disgusting. Hold on. Sorry about that. I'm back. So we hit stop sharing screen, and then we complain that like the camera icon is still there. I wonder if part of it is because we need to wait longer. Let's see what happens if I just add a wait. 5 seconds. See if that solves it. And if it does, then we have to wait on a particular event. And I think I remember what those events are, but I just need to check. All right, so that works. I need to wait for the event that says that we're stopped sharing. And I think that's something like waiting for a message that's like get user media response allow or something. Or expect observer called. Let's see. Recording window ended. Response deny. What is recording window ended? What is recording window ended? A stream was removed. Recording window, so not like the recording of a window, but a window of time. So that's probably what we want. Recording window ended. So promise. Let's say let's stop sharing promise equal expect observer called recording window ended. Wait, stop sharing promise. And if this works, then we can clean this up and put it up for review. Nope. No good. No good. That's not the right one. Maybe it's recording device events then? I remember there's like an observer that notification that we need to wait for in order to know that the composition has changed. Composition of streaming devices has changed. Right now I'm guessing. Yes, that was the right one. Now, the way I want to verify that there's a way we can run tests with a special mode. I'm going to run it with -- verify, which runs it, kind of tortures the test. Make sure there are no races, and I'm going to blow my nose again while this runs. I apologize. Here, let's put on some music. Let's see here.
That's right.
Where is it? Drum roll. Yeah, this is going to take too long to do a whole drum roll. But I'm pretty confident now that we've already done like a bunch of repetitions that this is going to do the right thing. That we've done the right thing. Got some test coverage. It's not perfect. It's just business. And once we get this cleaned up, I think we'll call the stream done. The other thing about verify mode, mock monkey test -- verify, what I'm running in right now, is it's using a special mode in the browser called chaos mode sometimes. And chaos mode is really interesting because what it does is it tells our browser engine to randomly adjust thread priorities and randomly reorder unsorted collections and a bunch of other stuff, which helps us like smoke out non-determinism or things that break because of like as a weird side effect because of like races maybe with the thread priorities, or you know, if there was an assumption about an order of an unordered collection, then chaos mode allows us to sort of like detect those, which is handy to shake things up. That's right. So we're running in chaos mode right now. And we're doing a bunch of restarts. Hey, we passed our verification. Great news. So now I want to just clean this up a little bit. We're going to add some documentation. Tests that if the user chooses to stop sharing their screen, or a display while also sharing their microphone or camera, that only the display stops, display stream stops, is stopped. Let's see. What is this third argument? Promise request device, frame ID. ID. Type. Presumably we're sharing a screen. The selection of the display device, the selected display, we're choosing the last item in the display list by default, which should be a screen. Just in case it isn't, we check whether or not the indicator is showing the stop sharing button for screens, and use that button for the test. Otherwise, we use the stop sharing button for other windows, other application windows, for other windows rather. Ensure that we're still sharing the other streams. There we go. There we go. Let's make it more obvious what we're doing here. First, choose to share the microphone and camera. Next, choose to share this a display, to share a display stream. Grab the indicator. I think that's good enough. Okay, let us now create some commits. Commit bug such and such. We're going to say don't only stop make sure the stop sharing button in the WebRTC indicator only stops. The other thing I want to check here, does it stop just the most recent one? Because it's supposed to. Stop sharing. If we're sharing multiple, I'm going to make a small modification here. WebRTC UI, where's WebRTC UI? It's too many files open. Most recent stream. Right. If not active streams dot length stop sharing just the most recent screen. False. Return, otherwise just return the first one. Stop most. Oh, that's not right, because this is expected to be an array. Oh man. Right. Yeah. Stop sharing button in the WebRTC indicator only stops the most recent display PZ. Let me just commit that, and then let's run all the tests again. Or rather, the 2 tests again. We won't run them and verify. We'll just run the tests. Do 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 do. This stream is brought to you as well by Element. Element is the new client for Matrix, the Matrix chat, federated distributed chat protocol. Element used to be called Riot, now it's called Element. That's the client I'm using to connect to Matrix, and that's where there's a live hacking channel, which unfortunately is not as popular as the Twitch chat, but hopefully soon we'll be able to combine them if all goes well. Okay, stop sharing button, and then let's stop sharing on indicator close. That's the other one I wanted to run. And then maybe just one last smoke test. Okay, we're gonna run, do a quick smoke test. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to open up Talkie. Share the FaceTime camera and the microphone. Share the screen. Just share the window. And now I'm going to open up Web RTC Experiment, get display media, this classic demo. I'm going to share another window, my Logitech camera settings, and then I'm going to share the entire screen in this other tab. Okay, now if I hit stop sharing entire screen, good, it stops this one, but keeps this one alive. Now I say stop sharing nightly, and I'm sharing another application window. Which one am I sharing? That's right, this one. Okay, stop sharing that. Cool. That's what I wanted. Good stuff. All right. So I feel pretty confident about this. Let's look at the patch one more time. Looks good to me. Let's post this up for review. And then we're going to call the stream done. Hey, that was it. Thank you so much for watching episode 222 of The Joy of Coding. I thought that was interesting. You know, we did some investigation. You know, there was a test got written, found a solution to the problem. We didn't actually spend a lot of time looking for the solution to the problem. I think the vast majority of the time was spent writing the test. But yeah, you know, the debugger really helped a lot. You know, I was able to inspect the devices object and realize that our assumption that filtering, you know, like there's more to a stream than just a one device. It'll have multiple devices. And when you filter for like just streams that have screens, those streams might also have other devices associated with them. That's the problem. So we encoded that in some inline documentation. And what else? We also talked about the VPN. We talked about VPNs a lot. And so Mozilla VPN, you should check it out. That's a great way of supporting Mozilla and Mozilla's mission and getting a really decent VPN connection instead of something sketchy that might be recording your traffic without you knowing. If it's a free VPN, almost certainly they're doing something sketchy. I say that without like, I say that with a high degree of confidence. If you are using a free VPN service, almost certainly they're doing something sketchy. So it's best if you pay for one. Even if you pay for one, sometimes they do sketchy things. There was some news recently, I think last week, about a VPN provider that's like, we don't log anything. Whoops, we leaked all the logs that we weren't keeping. The Mozilla VPN, I trust Mozilla, not just because I work for them, but because I know the quality of our security and privacy people, and we have very, very high standards for when it comes to security and privacy. And we audited Mulvad, and so I feel highly confident. Even if I didn't work for Mozilla, I'd be very confident that Mozilla put their stamp of approval on this VPN. So there you go. There's the plug for the day, and we're going to call it there. Thanks again for watching episode 222 of The Joy of Coding. Have yourselves a great week. I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. Hold on. Gotta do the transition. Take care. Bye-bye. See ya.